By understanding horse behavior, you can anticipate their reactions and avoid accidents. In this video, you will learn how to safely handle horses when you're dismounted. You'll learn about a horse's natural instincts and how they perceive the world. We'll show you how to approach, handle, lead, and tie a horse, and we'll inform you about gear to wear to protect yourself. Horses react to what they can see, hear, feel, and smell. A horse relies on all four of these senses to protect itself. If a horse thinks it's in danger, it may suddenly react and cause an accident. Horses see things differently than people do. They use both eyes, binocular vision, when looking directly ahead. Each eye also has monocular vision, which allows them to see wide areas to the sides of themselves. They have two blind spots, though, where they can't see. One is directly in front of their head, and the other is directly behind them. To avoid startling your horse, approach it at an angle toward its shoulder so it can see you. Horses are also colorblind. They see in shades of gray, kind of like a black and white TV. Shadows, dark spots, changing surfaces, and blowing trash can frighten them. And although horses have excellent wide-angle vision, they do not have good depth perception. That's why horses often raise and lower their heads to focus on objects. Give your horse time for its eyes to adjust and decide if it's safe to walk into dark, confined areas like horse trailers. Instinct tells them there may be a predator in there waiting to attack them, so your horse needs to be trained to trust you when you tell him it is okay to walk in. To see faraway objects, the horse will raise its head and point its ears in that direction. When the horse is focusing on something close, you may see the horse lower its head and put its ears forward. Knowing these things about a horse's sight will help you anticipate a horse's reactions. Now let's talk about a horse's sense of hearing. When you are alongside of it, it will cock the corresponding ear towards you to keep track of where you are. This is why talking to a horse when working by it is good practice. If you step out of its sight, it can still keep track of where you are by listening to you. Since a horse is also sensitive to touch, keeping a hand on it as you walk around it helps it know where you are. Watch out for the ticklish spots, though. Just like people, many horses may be very sensitive to touch in certain areas. Some of those places may be located around the withers, in the flank area, and on the belly. Horses can feel vibrations through the ground and may be aware of the approach of an animal, a person, or a vehicle before that object can be seen or heard by you. Another sense the horse uses is smell. If a horse smells something that is unusual, it may react. Familiar scents, on the other hand, help comfort it. These are the four primary senses the horse uses to watch out for danger: sight, hearing, touch, and smell. Therefore, when starting to work around an unfamiliar horse, make sure it can see and hear you, and also let it smell you. Just like people, horses develop a personal comfort zone around them. A horse's comfort zone, or flight zone, is the minimal distance that allows him to escape from a predator. Allow time for a horse to adapt to you entering this zone in order to minimize the horse's reaction. Horses also have lines of motion. When a handler is within the comfort or flight zone, they will cause the horse to move forward or backward depending on which side of the line of motion they are standing on. The quicker you move into the flight zone, the quicker the horse reacts. Backing out of the flight zone allows the horse to calm and slow down or stop. The horse's natural reaction to real or imagined danger is one of two things: fight or flight. If a horse can run, they usually will. This is called the flight response. However, if they feel cornered or trapped, their second reaction is to defend themselves with one or more of their four defense tools. This is called the fight reaction. One defense a horse can use to protect itself from danger is its teeth. A horse can use its mouth in a very quick and efficient manner to grab anything it feels may be a threat, such as a person or a brush. When grooming your horse, it's a good idea to keep everything you need in a bucket out of the horse's reach. The horse also uses its teeth for grabbing feed and to give affectionate scratching to its pasture mates. A second defense is the horse's front legs and hooves. A horse can kick a leg forward to strike at a threat in front of it. Its hooves may also smash your toes if you aren't paying attention to where your feet are. Defense tool number 3 is the hind legs, and a horse can direct them with a high degree of accuracy. Avoid kicks by paying attention and not threatening or scaring your horse. Defense tool number 4 is the least dangerous. It is the tail. It is usually used to keep flies off themselves or their herd mates, but if you get in the way, the tail can swat you fairly hard. Your eyes are especially vulnerable, so watch out. To avoid these defenses, there are several precautions you can take. Stay out of range of the mouth and pay attention. Don't stand directly in front of or behind the horse. If you have to work near the horse's body, remain close. If it does kick, you won't get the full force of the blow. When moving to the opposite side of the horse, always place your hand across the hind quarter before walking around the horse. If the horse is going to kick, he will kick at this time and you will be off to the side. Then walk around behind the horse as close as possible or move out of kicking range as you move around. Always let the horse know you are around it and what you're doing by remaining in its vision, talking to it, or touching it. Horses also establish a pecking order. The horse on the very bottom of the pecking order will usually act submissively to every other horse in the herd. Watch out that you don't get run over when the pecking order is in action. Horses have a good memory, and during training, it is necessary to make experiences good and comfortable for both the horse and handler. When horses are forced, for instance, to load into a trailer, you may complete the goal that day, but the next time someone has to load that horse, they will have more problems. Remember, good habits are easier to train than bad habits are to break. Some other functions that contribute to individual horse behavior include breeding background and what the foal's mother is like, the environment, other horses that the foal has been exposed to, past and current experiences with people, and individual traits that the horse possesses. The more you know about your horse, its background, and its temperament, the better. Learning to read a horse's response reaction, whether you know them or not, is fairly simple. Pay attention to its ears, eyes, nostrils, tail movement, and shifting of weight to indicate what the horse might do next. Often you can evaluate a horse's temperament or frame of mind by the position of its ears. A horse that is attentive will have ears perked forward or will swivel the ears to follow wherever you are. However, if the horse has its head raised, its ears perked forward, its eyes wide, and nostrils flaring, it may be preparing to bolt. A horse that is bored or lackadaisical may have its ears half cocked and neither forward nor back. A horse that is paying attention to you, for instance, if you're working at its flank, will have one or both ears back, but not pinned against his neck. An angry horse will flatten its ears back, possibly bare its teeth, and swish its tail as a threat, and then follow through by using its teeth and feet. When a horse is angry and shifts its weight to be able to free its legs for kicking, stand clear. When you approach the horse, do so at an angle toward its shoulder. Never approach it directly from the rear or front. Remember, they have blind spots. Do not rush or be hesitant in your actions toward the horse. Approach the horse in a confident manner and speak to it in a calm but audible voice. If you approach too quietly, the horse may feel like it is being stalked by a predator and run away. Always be calm, confident, and consistent when handling your horse. A handler that is nervous or lacks confidence will cause the horse to be nervous and unsafe. Horses should always be handled so each event occurs in sequential or routine format. Develop a strong bond with your horse and get to know its temperament and reactions. A position of dominance and leadership should be established. You should be a firm but gentle master. Correction or discipline should be at the instant of disobedience. Should you wait too long, the horse will not understand why it is being disciplined. Correct without anger and never strike a horse around the head. Even though you know your intent is discipline, the horse will perceive it as an attack. When you lead a horse, you should always be walking beside it. Don't let the horse get ahead of or behind you. The safest position for you when leading is at a point midway between the horse's head and shoulder. It is customary to lead from the left side. For maximum control, your right hand should be directly behind the snap, especially on an untrained or unfamiliar horse. Use a long lead rope with the excess folded in a figure 8 in your left hand. Never wrap the lead rope, halter shank, or reins around your hand, wrist, or body. When leading, extend your right elbow toward the horse. Should the horse shy and make sudden contact with you, its shoulder will hit your elbow first and move you out of the way. Be cautious when leading. Do not walk with your head down. Look where you are going and be aware of your surroundings. Be looking at what the horse is looking at. Usually, you would turn the horse to the right or away from you and walk around it. If you do turn to the left, make sure you move first to avoid standing or walking in front of the horse's legs. If the horse rears or pulls away from you, release the hand closest to the halter. If the horse is moving away from you, speak in a calming voice and step toward the horse. It will usually stop. Pulling on the lead will cause the horse to resist further. When tying, untying, or leading a horse, avoid getting your hands or fingers entangled in the lead or in the halter ring. Always tie a horse short. Allow enough length so the neck can be held in a natural position, but short enough to keep it out of danger. Always tie to something secure, such as a strong, sturdy fence post or hitching post, to avoid the possibility of the horse pulling back and breaking loose. Do not tie to a fence rail or gate. The standard for tying a horse is an arm's length at about the horse's eye level. Always tie with a lead rope, never the bridle reins. A slip knot is good for tying a haltered horse. Put the rope around the post, make a loop, fold the end of the rope and pull it through the loop, and tighten it snugly against the post. This knot can generally be released in a hurry. If your horse is clever enough to untie this one himself, thread the end of the rope through the loop so it can't be undone quite so easily. When tying a horse without a halter, use a bowline knot around the horse's neck. If you use a slip knot, the horse could pull back and hang itself. This knot will not slip and will not come off when adjusted snugly to the horse's neck. Tie your horse away from others to avoid crowding, fighting, or injury. You want to tie your horse in an area that is safe for both you and your horse. When releasing a horse, always untie it before removing the halter. You should never leave a halter on a loose horse in a stall or pasture. However, if you must leave a halter on a horse in a pasture, use a halter that will break easily if caught on a tree or fence. If you apply what you've just learned, you'll know how you can modify your behavior to help the horse be calmer. But it doesn't mean that you'll be able to control each stimulus the horse reacts to. Therefore, personal safety is of utmost importance. Wear protective headgear. Proper headgear will have either SEI certified or this helmet meets ASTM standards somewhere on it. It will also have chin straps. You may think you only need a helmet when riding. This is not true. Head injuries can happen at any time. Wearing a helmet every time you work around horses will help you protect yourself. You also need proper footgear. Boots or hard-toed shoes with at least a 1-inch heel are preferred. These will protect your toes while working around the horse. The heels will prevent your foot from sliding through the stirrup while riding. Do not wear tennis shoes, moccasins, or go barefooted around horses. Wear proper clothing. Long pants will help protect your legs, and gloves can protect your hands if you are using a rope. Although horses have been domesticated, they will always have prey-like instincts. These cannot be removed or changed. If a horse is frightened, it will always revert to natural instincts. If you understand how and why horses react the way they do, and realize that they have the instincts of a prey animal, you'll be able to adapt your behavior and predict their reactions. This will make a safer environment for both you and your horse.